thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be discussing what you could do to help reduce the inflammation of your plantar fasciitis. So if you have plantar fasciitis, what that means is you have an inflammation of the plantar fascia, which is muscles that run along the bottom of your foot. It can cause you pain in your heels. It can also be a part of tightness up in the calves. So when you're looking at what you should do to help your plantar fasciitis, you want to make sure address the issues of the foot and address any issues you might be having in your calf. Okay, so first off, we're going to start off with tennis balls. Now, sometimes when we do these stretches, because there is the inflammation, because there's already the pain and tenderness, it is not going to feel really good. But if you can get the muscles stretched out, you will end up feeling better later. However, there's still that line where I want you to be respectful of what your body is telling you. And when your body says you need to back off something, or you need to stop doing something, or something's not for you, I want you to listen to this, because I am not a medical professional. And so all of this is just advice from somebody who has gone through it their own self. So here's what I did to help fix my plantar fasciitis. We'll begin with tennis balls. Tennis balls are great for myofascial release, and so I like to start with them to get the connective tissue around the muscle broken up. So grab a tennis ball. Just a little bit of information about these. When you grab the brand new tennis balls and you go to squeeze them, they don't have any sort of give. Okay, that's a whole lot of firmness, a whole lot of pressure. When you put your inflamed muscle right on top of that, that is gonna hurt. So when I work with tennis balls, I have some friends who go to our neighborhood racket club, and they get me the dead tennis balls. So when I squeeze my tennis balls, there's some give to them. Okay, and when you have something that has give, it's going to be less irritating to your body. All right, so grab your ball, and tennis ball work can be done seated or standing. However, for the foot, I'm going to choose to show you standing. All right, so we're going to place the tennis ball on the ground. You want to make sure that you feel nice and comfortable in your standing position. And then you're just easily going to apply pressure and roll the tennis ball back and forth. You want to make sure you're getting up by the toes, all the way through the arch, and then down into the heel. And when you go to do the arch, don't just do the inside. Try to get to the outside of the foot too. Really, we're looking for anything on the bottom of your foot, be it in the ball of the foot, or the heel, the inside or the outside, that might be getting in the way of healing. Okay? And then go ahead. I always like to do both sides, so you'll see me do both sides for this one. Just because there's so much good that can come from getting that fascia broken up. Okay, next, I have a seat against the wall. I'm going to sit lengthwise so that you can see what I'm doing. We're going to get into our calves. So we're going to have our feet flexed, bend the knees. Let's bring the tennis balls to the meat of the calves. And you want to make sure, avoid this behind the knee area, okay? So I'm right below that. Nice and easy and nonchalant, flex and point back and forth here with the feet. Now, as you feel this muscle soften, scoot the tennis ball down about 1 inch. Keep going with that nice and easy flex and point. And it might take you longer. I'm kind of trying to hurry because we don't want to be here all day. But you want to make sure as you go through, it's a time saver to do both calves at the same time. And you really want to make sure when you're doing this, when you do have a problem, let your body take the time it needs to fix the issue at hand. As you keep going, you want to go all the way down the calf, getting the whole back of the leg, and that includes the Achilles tendon. So you want to make sure when you go, do let yourself go all the way down right at the ankle. And that's a tricky one to place. Okay, so for our next exercise, we're going to set the tennis balls aside. We're going to grab a towel. I just have a hand towel here from the bath. My foot is going to be flexed, and I'm going to loop that towel around the foot. Now the bottom of the towel is going to be at about my midfoot. I'm going to use this towel to pull back on the ball of my foot, and then I'm going to push the ball of my foot into the towel like I'm pushing on a gas pedal. So it's alternating a flexion here and an extension at the ankle. And then I help it and I pull, and then it pushes. Good. And I'll show you on the other side. And push. And get that flexion, get that stretch, and push, flex, and push. Very good. Now for our next exercise, you want to make sure that you are not on a sticky mat or the carpet for that matter. It works a whole lot better if you can be on a hardwood floor or a tile surface. You're going to take that same towel. You're going to lay it out in front of you. You want to stand at the back of the towel, and then I'm going to come forward. I'm going to put a crease in it, like 1 inch or so above my big toe, and then I'm going to put 2 more creases at even spots in the rest of the towel. Okay, so I've got these 3 ridges. So this exercise here is going to work the intrinsic muscles of the foot, the muscles deep inside the foot. If you have bad inflammation right now, please don't do this. I think it would be a mistake. But if you are just suffering from weakness in your foot muscles or tightness, this is going to be really therapeutic. Okay, so you reach out long with your toes, and then you curl your toes in and lift up the arch. And you reach out and you curl and lift. And as you move, you'll end up bringing the towel toward you. And you can kind of shift and make adjustments. And reach and pull. And so as I move, I'll hold right here in the arch and turn this for you. We'll do a couple right here. Reach and pull. Reach and pull. Reach and pull. And it gets to a point in time where only a certain amount of fabric can come up under your foot, or perhaps your foot tells you that it hates you, and so go ahead and stop. All right, our next exercise is going to be a plain ankle roll. So you're going to have a seat, and again, you can sit with your back against the wall. I'm going to sit sideways so you can see, and just go 1 foot at a time, okay? And so we'll go with this right foot. In this position, the ball of my foot is pressing away from me. I let it open to the side. I reach around, good, and I kind of pause here to really feel the extension, and then my foot comes in toward the center. Now, the tendency is that it's going to want to come in like this, where the sole of the foot turns in. We don't want it to do that. We just want to move at the ankle and then bring it back up. And it's very important when you're in this position here, let the toes reach as far toward you, back toward you, or toward your shin, however you want to think of it. Bring the toes back. And so it doesn't have to be that slow, but it does have to be that mindful. As you move, keep the sole of your foot always facing away. I do 5 one side, and then you reverse it. And you'll always find one side's going to be easier than the other. One foot is going to be easier than the other. Obviously, if you're doing this as a therapeutic exercise, whichever foot isn't hurt will be better. Okay? And then the last exercise I have is a calf stretch. This is a little tricky because where your pelvis is in space makes a big difference on how you're going to feel this. Start off with your feet parallel, and you're going to put a soft bend into your hips. Send one foot back. Now you want to look back at that back foot and make sure it's parallel. The feet should be parallel to each other like they're running on railroad tracks. Make sure your back heel presses down into the mat. Now, from your hips through the crown of your head, hinge forward. And that should put a different stretch into that calf. Okay, so you can do it where you're straight up and down, your hips are straight up and down, and that's a good calf stretch. It's very, very nice. But then lift your hips up, hinge forward as a single piece, and so it takes core strength to do that. And I think you'll find that there's a difference in that quality of stretch you're getting in your back leg. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you have enjoyed the information I've given you, please check out my website, www.customppilatesandyoga.com. You can also find me on Facebook, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.